The mandate is going to make people mad. I never thought that was an essential part of this, but it's there. And look, you've got to understand here, this bill was patterned after what Mitt Romney did in Massachusetts. This is a very bipartisan bill, even though it didn't get any Republican votes. In normal times, when the Republicans weren't so in such an obstructionist mood, this would have been a middle-of-the-road bill with a lot of Republican votes, because this bill was essentially signed by a Republican governor in Massachusetts.
Former President Bush's own speechwriter tonight, David Frum, wrote an essay talking about how the Republicans passed up an incredible opportunity to sit down after being offered over and over again to compromise. He pointed out that this legislation is very close to Mitt Romney's proposal on health care reform.
First of all, the truth is, even without a single Republican vote, this was a bipartisan bill. This is essentially the same bill that Mitt Romney signed as governor in Massachusetts. They simply expanded the Massachusetts system to cover everybody in America.
To me, one of the proofs of how ludicrous this position is, if you really believe that that's what the health care bill is designed to do, the first step to taking over all of our lives. I mean, this health care bill is pretty much identical, or pretty closely modeled on the health care bill that Mitt Romney, that famous socialist, passed in Massachusetts.
So Massachusetts has, of course, this health care reform package that Mitt Romney, a 2012 Republican presidential candidate, signed into law, that Scott Brown voted for. And the architecture is virtually identical to what we're passing into law here.
A lot of critics of the bill, I think it was Peggy Noonan's column on Friday, talked about whether or not we are now headed for some sort of ideological civil war, and whether or not Democrats will consider this victory to be worth it if, in fact, the country is split in ways we can't even imagine. What do you think about that?
I think that's ridiculous, actually, Carl. An ideological civil war. This health care bill, as you just heard earlier in the program, was substantially modeled after the bill that Mitt Romney signed into law as the governor of Massachusetts. Mitt Romney has a better chance than any other Republican of becoming the nominee, as we sit tonight, of becoming the nominee against President Obama in 2012. Does he want to lead an ideological civil war against this health care bill? I don't think that's going to happen.
John, some would counter that Romneycare is exactly what's going to prevent him from perhaps being the nominee or ever getting the presidency.
Well, sure, we'll see. And I think that will hurt him in the Republican primaries, no question about it.
Absolutely.
You're going to see people like Tim Pawlenty, who are running against him, talking about the Obama-Romney health care plan. You can already see those advertisements now.